Tonight, reaction to Environment Canada making changes to the weather alert system. Flood deja vu as a short but heavy downpour has residents in cleanup mode yet again. Plus, Ottawa's Colombian community grief-stricken by the deadly earthquake that has claimed more than 200 lives. Good evening. We begin with breaking news tonight. Police just confirming a fatal collision on Regional Road 174 in the eastbound lanes. If you are driving east right now, Highway 417 has a closure starting at Saint Laurent, and you will not be able to take the 174 out to Orleans. Here's a live look at what our traffic cameras can capture on the 417 at Saint Laurent. That's where the road closure begins. Police say the fatal crash happened just before 10 p.m. at 9:50 tonight. It involved a pedestrian and a vehicle. Investigators are looking for witnesses and dash cam footage. Contact them immediately if you have any. The investigation is ongoing. In other news, Environment Canada is responding to backlash that weather alerts pushed on TV and to phones are too frequent and somewhat inaccurate. And while a better safe than sorry approach has been defended, a new, more targeted approach is up and running. CTV's Sean Varden has more.
Environment Canada is launching a new and more targeted thunderstorm and tornado warning system. It will target alerts to areas forecasters think will be hit, rather than the current broad warnings across a large area.
People will know, okay, that's my area, so they'll get prepared or for an emergency or something like that. So, yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea.
The new system hopes to combat a growing level of alert fatigue. Forecasters will now have the ability to draw a perimeter around neighborhoods they think are most likely to be affected, and then push an alert to phones in the vicinity.
One time I actually rushed home thinking, I don't want to get stuck in the storm, and there was nothing. So, yeah, it's a little frustrating when that happens.
It's easy to get annoyed by these warnings when you look outside and it's just blue sky where you are.
The changes only apply to severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings. The new system will provide a list of locations in nearby areas that could be impacted. Other alerts like heat warnings and thunderstorm watches will remain more general and be received by a large number of people.
Adding these tools really helps in order to make the messaging more effective and timely, and make sure that people are trusting the systems.
If you have something that's more specific, you hope that it's more accurate, and then as a result, people would naturally pay more attention, yeah.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
Meanwhile, several residents are once again cleaning up dirty, wet basements in the city's West End tonight. Yesterday's quick but damaging downpour comes just weeks after the Canada Day floods. Now, questions around the quality of the city's infrastructure have intensified. Here's CTV's Austin Lee.
No, you're right. There's nothing going down here.
Monday's storm sending floodwater rushing into Ottawa streets, giving residents worrying flashbacks of the Canada Day flood.
There's no way for this to open. The only thing that can happen is the water goes backwards and into everybody's homes.
Ivan Potts saw his home flood on July 1st. He took matters into his own hands that day, clearing this culvert that was completely clogged.
The debris was about a foot to a foot and a half thick behind the pipe, a mixture of grass, plastics, socks, sticks, you name it. It was in there, just jammed it right up.
The culvert is in Ottawa's Bayshore neighborhood near Scriven Street off the Trans-Canada Trail. And since July 1st, Potts has returned several times, spending hours to prevent flooding.
I had let the city know that we should probably get it cleaned out or dredged out, and that never happened.
He was back on Monday, hard at work, clearing the culvert during the rainstorm.
Look at all the debris already building up from the inside.
It was flowing very heavily, and there was about 4 or 5 of those boards jammed right up on the back of that grill, blocking the water from coming out.
Councillor Lane Johnson says she's aware of dozens of reports of flooded homes in Ottawa Monday as water rushed into the street. Some councillors are now putting Ottawa's stormwater infrastructure in the spotlight.
Some people are just recovering, and to have to experience this over again is difficult. So the city has to look at this with the idea that we have to improve.
As we experience more frequent intense storms, how does the infrastructure react under those different experiences? So those are some of the questions that we're still asking, and I hope that we'll have better answers by the end of the week.
We need a different gate system here.
And as some city culverts face challenges, Potts says he has a solution.
So it really needs to be on a hinge system, something that can open itself up when it blocks instead of going backwards and into homes.
Austin Lee, CTV News.
Sticking with this issue, there is reason to wonder about the storm's impact on the unfinished LRT system. We already know what happened on July 1st could delay the western launch, but is it too soon to say if yesterday's weather made things worse? Here's some of what OC Transpo's GM had to say on the matter.
There was extensive damage through the flood. And right now what I'm doing is I'm working with the contractor and we're doing an assessment. And I've made it very clear to Council and the Transit Committee that I'll be back in early 2027 with the schedule for repair and replace and when we think we can start up.
That was Rick O'Leary commenting on the extent of the damage from weeks ago. And while there's a strong sense of what needs to be repaired, there are several solutions on the table. We know that tracks being laid down in the Lincoln Fields area and west of Tunney's pasture took a hit, but the walls around the Western Rail Line extension did as well. To quote the transit boss, it's a matter of concluding what needs to be repaired versus replaced. For full details on that issue in particular and others, visit our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is 20 degrees outside right now as we have our first look at the forecast and what you can expect going forward. Overnight, there is a slight chance of showers, although it is very slight. We don't expect that to happen. Tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy skies, increasing cloudiness throughout the day, and more likelihood that we'll see some afternoon showers with a risk of a thunderstorm. As we take a look at the next 24 hours, 16 degrees to start things off. We should hit a daytime high of 24 degrees in the afternoon before dipping back down to 19 degrees around 8 p.m. tomorrow. Again, right now we are sitting at 20 degrees. A popular local flea market is closing its doors after more than 50 years in business. Stittsville's Carp Road Flea Market will close this fall. The property has been sold, but in a post on Facebook, the owners say it's closing for several reasons. Indoor vendors will be on site every Sunday until the end of September, while the outdoor market will remain open until the end of October. The historic water tower in Smiths Falls will be demolished. Councillors approving the move just yesterday, along with up to $400,000 for the demolition and decommissioning work. The water tower, which was built in 1924, is no longer in use. And OPP are sharing this photo and looking for the driver of a truck hauling a backhoe that hit a bridge on Highway 417. This happened around 6:40 yesterday morning in the eastbound lanes at Eagleson Road. Anyone who witnessed a crash or who may have dash cam footage is asked to contact the OPP. Members of the Colombian community here in Ottawa are anxiously checking on loved ones after a deadly earthquake hit the South American country they also call home. And while they face grief and uncertainty, they are also mobilizing to help those who may have lost everything. CTV's Caitlin Wilson reports.
Chaos unfolding in the streets of Western Colombia after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit Monday morning, reducing buildings to rubble, sending people running for safety.
I was so scared. I started to call my mom and my uncle, and we were trying to reach our family.
Thousands of kilometers away for Juanita Botero, whose family owns Encanto Cafe in Manitic, the devastation hits close to home.
At least all our family is okay. They don't have a house anymore, but at least they are okay. But I have some friends that they cannot find their parents or their families.
Across the hardest hit communities, rescuers are still searching through debris. More than 200 people have been killed, with thousands still missing, and roughly 1,600 buildings damaged or destroyed.
We are going to start collecting donations as soon as tomorrow or Tuesday. We feel very bad, and we just want to find a way to help them.
This cafe was created to bring a little bit of Colombia to Ottawa. Now they're finding a way to give back, and they aren't alone.
My family, they live in Bogota. If you take a plane from Cali to Bogota, it takes 1 hour, and my family felt the earthquake.
The Colombian Canadian community of Ottawa and Gatineau has launched its own fundraiser, raising money for food, shelter, and other emergency assistance.
Even if you can donate $10, trust me, at this moment, every dollar is very important.
And while collecting donations is one thing, getting them to Colombia is another.
This is the things that we need to send, and we need like a partner or with airline or whatever.
For now, they're doing what they can, knowing every donation is one small step in helping those who lost everything.
It's going to be a long road because our city and all the cities around are totally destroyed.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
To put my name as the only back-to-back winner of the Canadian PGA Championship with George Knudson, who's just a Canadian golf legend. Yeah, incredible.
Coming up, an Ottawa golfer swinging his way into local national stardom. More on the success and significance when we return.
You're watching CTV News at 11:30 with Stefan Keys.
It's 11:43 right now. Time for a closer look at the forecast. Taking a look at our satellite radar picture, you can see pockets of precipitation kind of rolling through the region around this hour. Not really passing through Ottawa too much, but there's a slight chance we could see some showers overnight. Mostly those pockets of precipitation to the north of us in the valley areas and to the east of us as well. Mostly clear skies expected in the nation's capital, or at least the core overnight. 13 degrees for the overnight low. Also 13 in Cornwall, Brockville, Zibi seeing an overnight low of 14 degrees, also 14 degrees in the valley, 10 degrees overnight in Bancroft, and 13 degrees in Kemptville. Montreal will see an overnight low of 15. Taking a look at tomorrow's daytime highs, we shoot right back up to mid-20s right across the board for the most part. 25 degrees here in Ottawa, Zibi, Cornwall. Brockville will see a daytime high of 26 degrees, and Trenton will as well. Kingston, a high of 25. Bancroft, a high of 24. And Pembroke, a high of 23. Now, if you're noticing that image or that icon showing some thunder and lightning on your screen, that is because there is a chance increasing cloudiness in the morning will bring some rainfall in the afternoon with a risk of a thunderstorm. But again, mid to low 20s was pretty much the temperature, the daytime highs for most of the municipalities in our region. A 40% chance we'll see those showers tomorrow. Thursday, 23 degrees for the daytime high, 40% chance of rain there. Friday and Saturday, we're expecting sunny conditions. Fairly cool but comfortable on Friday, 21 degrees. That's relatively speaking. Watch out for that overnight low on Saturday, just 9 degrees overnight leading into Sunday. Cloudy skies expected on Sunday with a high of 22. Now, local golfer is now one of the best in the country after winning back-to-back Canadian PGA Championships. But as CTV's Dylan Dyson reports, it was the manner in which Craig Stefan won that made the victory all the more special.
On the tee, your 2024 zone champion and 2 times PGA of Canada champion from the bunker, Craig Stefan.
Ottawa's Craig Stefan is one of the best Canadian golfers teeing it up. The 29-year-old Indigenous golfer captured his second consecutive Canadian PGA Championship last week, shooting a course record score of 61.
To put my name as the only back-to-back winner of the Canadian PGA Championship with George Knudson, who's just a Canadian golf legend. Yeah, incredible.
The win also grants Stefan the opportunity to play in next year's RBC Canadian Open on the PGA Tour.
I've been dreaming about it for over 20 years, so yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
By his side through every round, ready with a fist bump, his caddy, Luc Lafrance. The two met at the bunker in the Glebe, where Stefan teaches.
They took me in when I was at my lowest and gave me a shot to rehab and do the things that I needed to do, and I can't thank them enough. And yeah, now we're gonna go play on the PGA Tour.
When he's dialed in and he's got so much talent and he's got so much determination that he really stepped above everybody else in the field.
But maybe the most meaningful part of Stefan's national championship win was that it came at St. Eugene Golf Resort in Cranbrook, BC, a former residential school site.
It's tough. I mean, as much as we we have to, look at the past. We've got to learn from it too and move forward together. So, to those Indigenous youth, put your head down, work hard, and it is possible. And we're going to do it.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
I've been around vehicles and engines and stuff pretty well my whole life.
Still to come, in this economy, do-it-yourself oil changes may be cost efficient, but you want to make sure it doesn't end up costing you extra. Your consumer alert is next. The Wallflowers will be headlining the first show at Ottawa's newest music venue next week. History Ottawa will open August 20th. The 2,000-person concert venue is located in the former Chapters building on Rideau Street. One of the most important things you can do to keep your vehicle running smoothly is to do regular oil changes. And while some people try to do it themselves, that can be risky. CTV's Pat Foran tells us why.
I've been around vehicles and engines and stuff pretty well my whole life.
Shannon Desjardins of Sudbury says she's been doing oil changes on her own vehicles for years.
For me to just be able to have everything at home and do it when it's convenient for me.
2 years ago, she leased a 2024 Subaru Outback. She was doing oil changes and keeping records. But in January, at 71,000 kilometers, something went wrong.
I was almost home and a little red light came on, which I'd never seen before, but it was an oil light.
The light went out, so the next day she continued to drive it.
On my way back into town, the light came on again, and that's where I ultimately had it towed because there was obviously a bigger issue.
Desjardins was told there was sludge in the engine and other major problems. She was asked to provide proof of oil changes and said she did them herself. That's when she was told repairs would not be covered under warranty.
The only reason why they're denying it is because I did my own oil changes.
We reached out to Subaru Canada and a spokesperson said owner-completed maintenance must follow the maintenance schedule. A record of all services must be supported with documentation, including receipts to ensure warranty coverage can be determined appropriately. If you're handy and have an older car, you may want to do your own oil changes, but if you have a newer vehicle still under warranty, you should return to the dealer or at least an auto shop or lube shop that can give you a paper trail with receipts.
When you do the oil change yourself, the risk is too high. I wouldn't do it.
Car Help Canada says a dealer will keep detailed records and use the correct oil and filters. The group says as repairs get more expensive, changing oil yourself may not be worth it.
You might think you're saving $100, $150. It might cost you thousands of dollars afterward.
It doesn't sit well with me.
Subaru said their investigation is continuing. Desjardins continues to make lease payments and pay insurance on a car she can't drive. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Well, drivers, hopefully you filled up your tanks tonight. Gas prices are expected to jump overnight. Oil prices increased yesterday due to uncertainty in the Middle East conflict. As a result, prices at the pump are predicted to increase about 6 cents a litre tomorrow. That will bring the average price here in Ottawa to about 169 cents for a litre of regular. And according to the experts, costs could rise again later this week.
This time, it's a little different. We don't have this midweek declaration by President Trump that things are getting better. There's a deal just around the corner or a response by Iran that maybe there might be a cessation of hostilities.
McTagg also says the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in the U.S. has dropped below 300 million barrels for the first time since the 80s. In more consumer news, a new report finds vehicle thefts are down across the country. The report from the anti-fraud group Équité Association says the number of auto thefts over the first half of this year was down 10% compared to the same period last year. It says that marks a return to pre-pandemic levels. Also, the Olive Garden restaurant is now officially open in the Westboro area. The restaurant welcomed its first customers starting at 11 a.m. Dozens of people lined up to be the first through the doors. The restaurant website says it's not accepting reservations for now and will welcome guests on a first-come, first-served basis. It's located on Kirkwood Avenue in the Hampton Park Plaza.
You need to be ready and willing to give yourself a life-saving medication.
Just said changes to medical practices driven by President Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. More on that right after this.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Turning to new guidance now on administering childhood vaccines in the United States. Medical experts on both sides of the border say the move will likely lead to fewer full immunizations and more hospitalizations. CTV's Pauline Chan has more on the political influence driving the change.
Calling it the gold standard of childhood immunizations, Trump signed an executive order to reduce the number of shots children in the U.S. receive.
A vaccination thing looks like the size of a bottle of soda poured into a little child's body.
Medical experts say this is one of the inaccuracies in Trump's comments.
We don't have good medical evidence for a lot of the changes that were suggested in the U.S. document.
Trump calls for RSV protection to be given only to high-risk babies, but
we know that most of the hospitalizations are in healthy infants, not in high-risk infants.
Similarly, Dr. Vivian Brown says meningitis occurs more in healthy teens, not high-risk groups. In addition, Trump wants to split the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine given in one shot now in Canada and the U.S.
For example, at 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting them all in the same day.
Previous research is that parents are unlikely to finish vaccine programs when they have to come back over and over again.
Doctors say there's no medical benefit to splitting the vaccine, and while money may be saved with fewer shots given, Brown says fewer vaccinations will lead to more hospitalizations down the road.
This doesn't have the force of law. What he's basically doing is saying to the state should look into this and try and implement this, but I think states will ignore this.
But the U.S. position will affect Canadians, and not just by increasing questions and confusion about vaccines.
If you have that amount of mixing of populations where one group is systematically less vaccinated and protected, they become a vector to bring disease into Canada. I think this is a further strong argument for strengthening vaccine capacity and use in Canada, because that's how you protect against this.
And if Canadians have vaccine questions, Dr. Brown says talk to your healthcare provider. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
We're getting to a point now where we really need to rally to the community to make up this shortfall that we have.
When we return, making back to school less of a burden for the families that need it. We'll tell you how you can help in just a few minutes.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, it's Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford. Employee pricing on now.
Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. The temperature holding steady at 20 degrees this hour. And let's also have a look at your wake-up weather to start things off tomorrow morning. 16 or 17 degrees, depending on what time you wake up. A few clouds in the sky, some winds gusting around 5 kilometers per hour. We are expecting some increasing cloudiness throughout the day, so that could bring some showers in the afternoon and a risk of a thunderstorm. The daytime high tomorrow, 25 degrees. And finally for us tonight, ahead of the new school year, there's an urgent plea from an organization providing backpacks and school supplies to students in need. While volunteers could be found packing thousands of backpacks with essential school supplies today at Carlingwood Shopping Centre, the Caring and Sharing Exchange says they are about 2,000 short with a wait list of registered kids.
We're getting to a point now where we really need to rally to the community to make up this shortfall that we have.
There's a big expectation in the classroom, and it can be really hard to have everything that they need. So it's important that things like this are made available so that kids have access to the things that they need to be successful for a good school year.
You are being encouraged to help if you can. The Caring and Sharing Exchange is also hosting a Stuff the Bus event at Carlingwood on August 20th. Mark your calendars. A link to donate is also available on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. That is CTV News for this Tuesday, August 11th. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can also watch our newscast live on the CTV News app, and for news on the go, listen to News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. For all of us here at CTV News, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night.